Why high ticket sales is piece of piss if you have a strong mindset. Coming from someone that's got over 15 years experience, 10 years in face-to-face, going into people's houses, cold leads, give you an example. A canvasser knocks the door, yeah? 2 hours later, I go around there suited and booted and I close a deal for 10, 20, 30,000 pounds, selling windows, doors, conservatories. That is the sales world that I come from, yeah? Not sitting, obviously in my boxes, in my bedroom, waiting for warm leads to come to my calendar. I had to go out there and literally make it happen. So if you're someone who's thinking to yourself, do you know what, this is difficult. High ticket sales has never been easier. All you need to do is show the fuck up every single day with the right attitude, with the right mindset. But I'm going to tell you, these 4C's, what I'm going to share with you, are going to help you to understand how to become an elite closer, right? Number one is call control. Because if your prospect comes to that call, right, and they're super excited, right, and they talk for too long, I'm talking for the first 5 minutes, and you don't know how to interrupt them, right? You now have no control over the call, which means when it gets to the end of the call, you haven't been able to find out the real problem. You haven't found out what is the real why of what they actually want. Because it's never about making 10, 20K a month. It's never about losing 10, 20 kilograms. It's never about obviously fixing a particular relationship. It's actually getting to the root of the problem, of the story that they keep telling themselves. So you need to be able to say something like this. Hang on a minute, John, you just said something really important then. Like, let's go back a few pages. Like, what did you mean when you said X? Now that shows an interruption pattern, that you are going to interrupt every time that you want to be able to say something. And if you do that in the first 2 to 3 minutes, all of a sudden you have call control throughout the whole call. So that every time that someone makes a statement of like, oh, do you know, that doesn't normally work for me. Well, that's what we call a statement. That's like a label. We need to peel that back. That is the 1C. Number 2 is confidence. You need to be confident in what you're selling. You need to understand your offer inside out, so that when a prospect asks you a particular question, instead of just trying to wing it, you have the information to be able to give them and execute with confidence. Not, to be honest with you, it goes just a little bit like this. It's, yeah, this is exactly what we do, and this is how we're going to actually get you there, ABC. Come across confident, right? So know your offer inside out. Number 3 is probably my most important, which is connection, right? You need to make a genuine connection with that prospect. They need to feel that trusted, caring authority, that kind of energy. So that when you're on a call with them, right, they're like, do you know what? This guy, he's confident, yeah? He's making sure that I'm heard from call control. He's interrupting because he wants to get more clarity on the things that I'm saying. Well, what did you mean by that? And we're going deeper, which means that the prospect is feeling more comfortable, their shoulders relax, and all of a sudden they're opening up, which means that you'll get into a level 3 conversation. And they're telling you the real why because you have a genuine connection. Number 4 is conviction. You have to have conviction exactly in what you're selling. Because if you don't have conviction, right, then that means that you know that you're putting a prospect into a program, a mentorship, a course that isn't really going to serve them just because you want to make money. And I can guarantee you this, right? Doesn't matter how much skill you have. Once you lose conviction in the offer, eventually the prospect will feel it, and it will be time for you to get another offer. But the longer that you stay on that offer, the bigger the hole that you dig. And then you need to reset your mindset, because all of a sudden, you're just basically doing something for the sake of money. And that's not the reason why you got into sales, because sales is service. It's helping someone go from where they are right here. There's a gap in the bridge and you're on the other side saying, look, I know what's on this side. I know it can help you. I know it can actually help you with an XYZ problem. I know it can help you make more money. I know that we can help you with your health, right? I know that there's a little bit of fear, but I'm here to catch you. I just need you to take that first little jump, yeah? And success is right outside of your comfort zone, John. So those are the 4 C's that you want to be implementing on your sales calls so that you can show up in the best version possible. And if you need to, right, deregulate yourself because you've just had an argument with your partner, with your family member, right? Do not bring that emotion to that sales call, because you will get triggered from the small things as what that prospect says, and you will start to paint a picture of the things of what they're saying. Like, yeah, I've already had a call with obviously XYZ, and I've got another 2 more calls in a few more days. Straight away, you're like, that person's not going to buy from me today. All because you have an emotion that's been from outside of where you are, and you brought that to the call, so you're triggered, and then you don't go through your step-by-step process of what you need to do to execute to get that prospect to where they want to go. So how do you do that? And you need to deregulate yourself. You need to have some breathing exercise. You need to listen to some different types of music like 4-3-2 hertz. Yeah, it's going to make you feel calmer, because the more calmer that you are, the more present that you are, the more relaxed that you are, the easier it's going to be to listen to what the prospect is saying, right? Let me give you an example, right? Yeah, James, at the moment, I'm just obviously exploring high ticket remote sales, and I don't even know if it's possible for making $4,000 or $5,000 a month. Even I see people making $20,000 a month, but yeah, I just think that's a scam. Okay, let's listen to what they've just said. Their consciousness is now operating at a place of fear when they come to the call. Let's say that you're a 15 to 30K a month closer. You've been in the game for a few years now, so that your consciousness is like, well, I make 15 to 30K all the time, right? There's now a misalignment unless you adjust to the consciousness of where that prospect is coming in. Yep. I don't even know if it's possible to make 4 or 5K a month. I appreciate you even sharing that with me, John. And, I'm actually glad that you're on this call, and, you obviously want to get some more clarity to see if it is, even possible for you in the future. But just to help me understand, where's that actually coming from? That belief, whether for you personally, you feel maybe making 4 or 5K is not possible. When did you actually start creating that belief? Well, to be honest with you, I've had a few people that have said remote ticket high sales is pretty difficult, and don't expect to make more than 4 or 5K. Okay, so you basically had what we call a hand-me-down belief. Someone's been sharing their opinion and their belief onto you, and you're gradually believing that. But do you believe that to be true? Well, I'm not sure, because I don't really know what's possible. Of course, but you've seen a lot of people out here that have made 20, 30K a month. I'm not even saying that's something that you're going to make right away, because obviously you need to get the right training so that you can actually then get hired and then get paid. So, but for you personally, right, do you actually believe it's possible to be able to replace your income of 5K a month, 6K a month, once you've had the right training, you've actually got hired by a really good offer, and then you start getting paid? Do you actually believe it's possible, or the story that you keep selling yourself from these hand-me-down beliefs is that it's not possible for you? Because if you believe that, then you're actually right, and I'm not going to sit here and try and convince you, because you're right if you keep on telling the same story to yourself. So the question that I want to ask you, John, is, are you willing to change the story that you keep telling yourself with the support and help from us in the future, so that you can actually get the outcome that you want? And I'm sure 5, 6K to replace your income is more like phase 1, right? What would phase 2 look like in the future, by the end of 2026? What do you actually want? Well, I want to be able to give my family more financial support. I want to be able to give more stability. I want to be able to take them on holiday. Okay, no, of course, and I love that. What man out there doesn't want to be able to give stability to their family, and be able to obviously travel and see this beautiful world? Because most people, what part of anyone doesn't want to see the world? So to help me understand then, are you going on holiday once, twice a year? When was the last time you went on holiday? Oh, it's been 18 months. Okay, and is there any particular reason for that? Yeah, just my job's okay, I'm making decent money, but I just don't get much time off, and it doesn't really align with my partner's job. So I really struggle to be able to have a holiday with the family. It's usually my wife that's, you know, going on holiday for a week and I'm still having to work. Oh, wow. Like, for you personally then, like, knowing that you're kind of being dictated to from what you're sharing, and correct me if I'm wrong, you can't go on holiday when your family wants to go on holiday because your job can't give you the time off. And even though you're making, like, you know, as you said, 6K a month, you're not actually getting the freedom to be able to have the quality of life that you want. Look, man, I can definitely now get a bit more of a clear understanding of why you're here, and you actually, like, you know, want to learn a new skill so that you can actually have more time with your loved ones. It completely makes sense. So help me understand, like, what would it actually mean to you to, like, double your income and start making 12K a month? But not only that, actually be able to go on holiday with your wife and your kids so that you're all there together, because that's something that's not happened for a while. Like, how would you personally feel knowing that you've put all of the work in to actually make that happen? Do you see the substance and the context of what I'm adding to the questions that I'm asking? Not how would it feel to be able to go on holiday? Like, I'm adding context and I'm using the words of what they've said. Like, what would it actually mean to you to eventually be able to, like, take your family on holiday, you know, and actually spend that quality time with them? Because 18 months is quite a long time. Like, I'm sure your partner must be possibly a little frustrated. Yeah, she is. She knows obviously it's a good job and it pays the bills. Another label, good job. Yeah, like, it's a good job for, you know, obviously the average income, you know, 6K is not bad, but excuse me, but like in our world, that's not great. You know, that's more on the lower end. But again, that's completely not your fault because that's all you know, right? You've been in corporate and you don't know anything different. So to you, that's good. But there's 20-year-olds out there making 20K a month. And, you know, I expect you to be skeptical of that because you don't know anything different, because that's how you see the world through your lens. But like, if you was to get the right training and you was able to, you know, actually be able to smash obviously these interviews where these businesses are doing 500K, a million a month, so that you could actually go in there and let's just say you closed $100,000 in business for that company, collected cash, you would get 10%, which would give you 10K plus bonuses. You're probably going to make 12,000 US dollars. So like, do you believe with the right step-by-step process that you could shed a skin and leave this corporate world and actually go into high ticket remote sales and start making 10K plus? Because it's okay me saying it, it's just, do you actually believe it's possible once you've had the right training? Well, yeah, I've seen loads of obviously testimonials as well, of course. So if other people can actually go out there and do it, do you believe it's possible? Yeah, I do. Okay, tie down. What stood out to you the most to make you feel that way? Okay, cool. So is it worth it to actually, you know, shed this skin, you know, learn a new skill alongside obviously doing your corporate job and actually make a transition into remote high ticket sales? Is it worth it to invest in yourself to give you the skills so that you can make more money, so you can spend time with your family and go on those holidays, you know? Because I feel your pain, John, you know? I would want you to be able to go on holiday this year in the next 3 to 6 months. But like I said, is it worth it? Yeah, it's worth it. Let's do it. There was some source that I just gave you right there, okay? That's obviously what you'd be using at the end of the call. But to get to that part, right, you have to have done what? The 4C's. So go and write these down. Make sure that you've got them next to you when you're on the call. You know, internalize it, right? And I guarantee you your conversations will go deeper. They will respect you more and you'll start enjoying your job. See you all in the next video.